Hi everyone, heartiest welcome to all for joining us for this first trial web panel discussion.
Next, please.
Yeah, Anuj, can yes.
We start as usual with ASHRAE Code of Ethics. In this and all ASHRAE meetings, we will act with honesty, fairness, courtesy, competence, inclusiveness, and respect for others, which exemplify our core values of excellence, commitment, integrity, collaboration, volunteerism, and diversity, and shall avoid all real or perceived conflict of interest. We'll start the panel discussion. First, we'll talk about ASHRAE, region at large, and ASHRAE. ASHRAE, with more than 56,000 members from over 132 nations. ASHRAE is a diverse organization presenting building system design and industrial process professionals around the world. We are now in region at large, which is the biggest region in the 15th region of ASHRAE. Region at large consists of 30 chapters as the largest ever region in ASHRAE. We are recently had 5 new chapters joined us. One of them, Chandigarh, which is organizing this event, Rajasthan, East India, Libya, and Oman. We are covering Africa, Middle East, and West Asia. We have many countries like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Lebanon, Kuwait, Pakistan, UAE, as Falcon chapter. Pakistan, there is 4 chapters. India, there is 10 chapters. Nigeria, Turkey, South Africa. In Egypt, there is 2 chapters, Cairo and Pyramids. I can tell you the names of the chapters in a quick way. Saudi chapter, Cairo chapter, Lebanese chapter, Kuwait chapter, Pakistan, Falcon chapter, North Pakistan, Bahrain, Qatar Oryx, Nigeria, Central Pakistan, Turkish, South Africa, Faisalabad, Pyramids, Jordan, Oman, and Libya. This is called Subregion 1. We have 2 subregions, Subregion 1 and Subregion 2. Subregion 2, we have India, West India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Chennai, Pune, Mumbai, Deccan, Bangladesh, East India, Chandigarh, and Rajasthan. Now I will introduce our moderator today, Mr. Ashu Gupta. Mr. Gupta's career spans across several diverse domains. He commenced his career as a mechanical engineer in 2008. Now he is managing partner of a design to occupancy services LLP, being associated with most prestigious organizations. He serves with complete devotion and perseverance of various excellent leading positions for ASHRAE and ASHRAE, and many other organizations like IAQA, IBPSA, and many others at the local and national as well, and international level. He is an IGBC, AP, BQP, GEM, CP, and PEE certified ECPC master trainer. Currently, he is ARVC for young engineers for YE and ASHRAE, region at large, in Subregion 2, and CEC member and YE member for region at large in ASHRAE. Mr. Ashu, please.
All right. So thank you so much, Dr. Allah, for giving me a great introduction about myself. And I welcome each one of you. I can see the lot of people around the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good. I think a lot of people having a night also. So thank you so much for joining this session. And we are having an amazing line of speakers. It was a very tough task to gather all the people on the same time zone. A lot of people got confused because of the timing, but I'm really sorry for that. That was the best we can do during that time. So I request for the next slide. So, of course, they start with a disclaimer. The information contained within is presented by ASHRAE region at large as a supplier stakeholder webinar. It presents information of current interest and provide a venue for interaction between ASHRAE region at large member and different industry stakeholders and the webinar presenter. These webinars should not be considered peer-reviewed or the final word or any subject. ASHRAE Reason at Large has not investigated, and ASHRAE Reason at Large expressly disclaims any due to investigate any product, service, procedure, design on the line which may be described herein. The appearance of any technical data or editorial material in the presentation does not constitute an endorsement, warranty, and guarantee by ASHRAE Reason at Large of any product, service, process, procedure, design, or the like. So this is a disclaimer. So guys, next slide, please, Maya. All right. So this is the housekeeping activity for all our attendees. So we will take participants can ask the question, and their question will be take once the session will over. Please continue to submit your questions along with panelist name using the question panel tab. And don't forget to share the feedback after the panel discussion. So request to everyone, please continue that. So now we are going to start our panel. Next. All right. So the panel discussion on everyone aware the COVID-19. Is COVID-19 the opportunities for sustainable development? We have the speakers from the 8 different countries to hear, and it is a very amazing time to listen all from all the leaders that what is actual opportunities available in the sustainable development. So I would like to introduce my speakers now because we have amazing speakers offline. All right, so we have first speaker, Dr. Ahmed Allah. Dr. Ahmed Allah is the chairman of group of companies called Middle East Gate Holding in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, and Egypt. He has been in the HVAC and R industry for over 30 years and has been involved in the sales, application, design, and contracting of HVAC and R products. Allah is holding a PhD and Master from Preston University and BSc in Mechanical Engineering from Alexandria University. Dr. Allah serves ASHRAE at various positions. Currently, he is the board of director in Atlanta, USA, also as a director and regional chair for ASHRAE region at large. So thank you so much, Allah, Dr. Allah, for accepting my request to do that. Next, please. So we have another speaker, Mr. Richie Mittal from India. Mr. Richie is the mechanical engineering and managing director of Overdrive Engineering Private Limited, offering design, engineering, and consultancy services in industrial, evaporative cooling, ventilation, and air conditioning systems with low energy cost, having served for more than 34 years in this industry. His special focus on passive cooling design and system and geothermal cooling system. He developed new 3-stage cooling system and installed since last 1 year, which is running successfully in North India. Specializing and offering services in engineering and design, a cooling system with renewable energy and energy efficient technologies. Green building services, indoor air quality. He is undertake third party commissioning and testing, adjusting and balancing. He is currently regional member council representative RMCR at ASHRAE region at large. Welcome Richie Mittal for our panel. Thank you so much for accepting. Next speaker, we have Professor Isame Khalil, is an experienced professor of mechanical engineering from with a demonstrated history of working in the education industry, a strong education profile, skilled in AutoCAD, mathematical modeling, Fortran, SolidWorks, and LabVIEW. Currently, Professor of Mechanical Engineering, Cairo University since June 1988. over 45 years of experience in design and simulation of the combustion chambers and furnaces and terrestrial and aerospace application. Had published over 728 articles, conference papers, and journal papers on the subject of combustion chamber design, energy, and indoor air quality with AIAA conference, ASME, and ASHRAE publication. Such activities were disseminated through more than 190 presentations worldwide and 60 articles, developed advanced courses in air conditioning, heat transfer, gas turbine control. Currently, he is a ASHRAE as a director at large. So welcome, Professor Isame Khalil in our panel. We have Mr. Mohammed Tasi. Mr. Mohammed Tasi is from Saudi Arabia, has a wide international experience in facility management, construction management, and sustainability management, as well as in the MEP, utilities, and infrastructure management. Moreover, he had a long pioneer path as a freelance consultant, educational lecturer, professional trainer, and public speaker, mainly on lead certification and sustainability management field. He is a USGBC lead faculty also. Currently, he is the director of facility management test at CAPSARC. CAPSARC is one of the most sustainable building on earth. Also, he is an active member of many professional international organizations and served in various leading positions at local, regional, and international level. Next speaker is from Pakistan, Mr. Farhan Mehaboob. Mr. Farhan Mehaboob is the head of mechanical engineering and a director at S. Mehaboob and Company Consulting Engineering SMC. He has been at the forefront of energy efficient and sustainable design in Pakistan with some of the most prestigious lead projects in the country. Farhan is a founding member of the ASHRAE Pakistan chapter and a former president. He serves as on technical committee TC 9.11 on clean spaces and presented on their behalf at the conference in Chicago. He is presently a member of Society Conferences and Exposition Committee of ASHRAE. Farhan has also been a pivotal member in producing Pakistan's Building Energy Code. Farhan has also and he presented on behalf of Government of Pakistan and Pakistan Engineering Council at its launch. So welcome Farhan, and thank you for accepting our request as a panelist. We have another speaker from Lebanon, the beautiful country, Nohad Bodani. Nohad Bodani is a mechanical engineering holding a master degree from the Lebanese University. He works as a technical manager in Saudicom SAL, a leading company in the field of heating ventilation equipment, and also he is an assistant professor at Lee Knam University, and institute speaker does, and of course this is the full form Lebanon. He's an ASHRAE member since 1995 and served as the president of ASHRAE Lebanese chapter from 2007 to 2009, and RMCR, the region members council representative of the ASHRAE region at large from 2014 to 2017. He also served as the 2018-19 ASHRAE board of elected members. He currently serves as a member ASHRAE CEC committee, nominating committee alternative member, and Nohad was also the president of Lebanon Green Building Council in 2017 and 2019. He was a board member since long. So welcome Nohad for accepting our request as a panelist in this panel. Another speaker, we have Mr. Pankaj Harker, very renowned name in India. We know him. Mr. Harker is a leading MEP and the Green Building Consultant of India, having rich experience of more than 36 years and has to his credit designing of more than 3,500 projects of various applications in India and abroad. He is currently responsible for the conceptualization and planning of MEP services and the green building for several green and sustainable buildings. He is currently consultant for many upcoming tall buildings in India. He is working as the MEP and the green building consultant, heading a company called Pankaj Harker and Associates, having offices in Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Indore. PDA Ventures came into existence from 6 September 2006. He's a member of several organizations and leading way, ASHRAE, IGBC, FSAI, IPA, ASOCHAM, and he has He is currently chairman for National Gem Council for ASOCHAM, which is the biggest chamber in India for industrial SMEs. Another speaker we have Shauna. Shauna from US. Shauna is a high performance design leader at DLR Group. She is a Val AP, Lead AP, BD plus C, Reset AP, BEMP, CPHC. So Shauna focus on energy and indoor environmental quality is an important component of the DLR Group's integrated design practice, supporting the firm's pursuit of sustainable design and operation. Her primary goal is to challenge people to think differently about the way they design and operate buildings, advising teams of sustainable goal to help designer quantifying energy savings and building health to understand the interaction between building designs, mechanical firms, and the environment. Currently, she is a junior vice chair of YA Executive Committee at ASHRAE HQ in USA. So welcome, Shauna. Thank you for accepting a request. Our last speaker, and of course we have a variety of the speakers from the different countries. Now the speaker from Bangladesh, Mr. Highsmith ODonnell, is the founder and chief executive officer at Utility Professionals, an MEP consulting firm in Bangladesh. He is an industrial compliance specialist and a motivational speaker. 29 years professional experience with different organizations on electromechanical engineering, energy and sustainability development fields, working on design, consultancy, project management, and testing, commissioning of electromechanical plumbing services, and detailed engineering assessment on MEP systems. Currently, he is a secretary at ASHRAE Bangladesh chapter, vice president of Fire Safety Consultant Association Bangladesh chapter, technical committee member at ASHRAE, and co-convener Bangladesh Green Sustainable Development Council. So these are the entire list of our all speakers. We have amazing speakers, and now I will not wait for the things that what we are going to learn in next 45 minutes. So I would request that what is so for my next slides, I just want to give you the background what actually the COVID-19 is doing. So this is the picture right now. Entire world is facing. We never thought about that we will have a mask. When I go on the airport a month ago, every person wearing a mask, and this was no one thought about some times ago, but now everyone has to be. So what COVID-19 has done for the worldwide. So this is I say the COVID-19 era, and what changes has been done in COVID-19. We have to understand this. This is a picture like we saw in India, the New Delhi before lockdown and the during the lockdown. This is the actual picture we have taken from Reuters. And what was the air pollution? So COVID-19, some positive impact on environment we have seen. This is India Gate picture, and we have seen that how the air quality has been changed and what we were doing earlier. Similarly, not in India, it is a situation in worldwide. Same is in Pakistan. You can see in Pakistan, the picture taken in 2017 and 2020, you can see that how much difference in air pollution. And this is because of COVID-19, we are getting to know this is what we have done. Same is in Dubai, because I think we thought that this earth is only for the humans, not for the animals, but we can see now this earth having the same right by the animals. We can see the peacock on the street or the Dubai shopping center. So this is thing that this lockdown or the COVID-19 is realizing us what we have done. Similarly, this is a Venice photograph. We know this is a hot tourist destination. The lot of boats goes in this river, but what we had done and what is now during the lockdown, this picture it is. These are the actual pictures taken by the people. So what we have done, similarly in the country, like if you see in another country in Beirut, in Lebanon, the skies have cleared around the city with the higher level of, so every city I'm just showing what COVID-19 is realizing now to us. In Egypt also, we can see in Egypt the traffic earlier in the left side of picture, you can see the traffic of the Google Earth, how much traffic on the road of that, and now during the lockdown, what the actual earth it is. So these are the things the COVID-19 is realizing us. Now what we can do, so this is we have to understand coronavirus impact on sustainability. I would say these carbon emissions, carbon footprints has been changed a lot. I was reading some article and carbon emissions has drastically changed because of this coronavirus. But the question comes, but can we keep it up? Once the thing will be on normal mode, we'll be able to keep our carbon emissions in the same range. So this is the panel. I will have some questions which I will ask my people, that how can we do such kind of things. The next slide which I want to show what the media is talking about. Everyone, because I was reading several articles in few weeks, I saw the green awareness is rising in China. The China after COVID-19, the companies adopting the green or sustainable way to production. I was reading an article in IEA, International Energy Agency. They told the energy efficiency is the only one quick solution which can boost economy and create thousands of jobs. Another article in India, the minister who is the Minister of Environment Forest, he was saying on the Earth Day, the clean earth is only possible with sustainable development. There is no other way. The UN chief is also said, nature is sending us the message. So guys, this is just the theme to set up my panel. Now we understand what we want to ask to my panel. So I would request the organizer, please present a presentation of my questions. So I will do my questions one by one to my speakers and to understand their views, that what they thought about it. So my first question goes to Dr. Allah. So Dr. Allah, because you are our leader at Reason at Large, and we want to know from your point of view that do you think people's behavior will change as a result of current pandemic in ways that positively or negatively impact the environment? So we want to, so over to you, Dr. Allah.
Thank you, Ashu. Actually, COVID-19 pandemic was such an unpredictable event impact our lives. All countries now, you tell me it's negative or positive impact will be. All the countries and the governments are resetting their priorities now at this moment to have a minimum losses. COVID-19 caused major global crisis around the world, impacted each and every individuals in the globe, affect the human lives, affect the economy, and it's able to uncover all our weaknesses, like a weak health system, lack of education, lack of cooperation. I think we cannot deny that the fact that this crisis teaches us a lot as a global citizen. The utmost value in being each other's keeper, and leaving no one behind, and to prioritizing the needs of our most vulnerable. It is teaching the humanity to build inclusive and sustainable economies that are more resilient in facing pandemics, like climate change and many other global challenges. For example, we can see now most of the companies and organizations changing to digitalizing their work. So this is a positive thing is going on. Many industries now change their work attitude. So it's directly affecting, as you show in your slides, affecting the environment. So I think the future will be entirely different due to COVID-19. It perhaps leading us better cooperation between people, between countries, between the industries, better collaboration to save the humanity and globe. And I hope that it will add to us more ethical behavior than what we have. This is my dream, actually, my expectation.
Absolutely, Dr. Allah, I fully agree with you, because this is the same thing, because environment doesn't have any boundary of political boundary. If something happen like COVID-19, similar way in environment, it can impact to the other countries also. So globally, this is the biggest step, and everyone has to take as a positive impact on environment. So I fully agree, Dr. Allah. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Now moving to my next question to Richie Mittal. because Mr. Richie Mittal, you have seen in my slides the picture of India, how he has been, how the air pollution has changed Delhi, which is the one of the pollutest city in the world. Earlier it was. So my question to you directly, I'm coming because you are a board member of IAQA Indoor Air Quality Association also, and ASHRAE also. So I want to understand, as we can see that the lockdown has improved the quality of air, water, and lessen the pollution. What strategies should government agencies adopt to continue this level or water quality after everything will come to routine? What are your thoughts? Over to you, Richie, sir.
Thank you, Ashu. I think you're right. The pictures speak for what we have been talking about. And now what you can see is, everybody is talking about air and water pollution. So, you can see the effect of with pollution and without pollution. So, as I again mentioned, picture speaks a lot. So government and other agencies are doing a lot. They've been talking about it. Unfortunately, it is not being followed at on level. So we need to understand, we know the fact, we know so many deaths happening because of air pollution in India, I would rather say. And, there was one article which I was reading, which says that the number of deaths because of pollution were higher than the number of deaths due to COVID. So, there are a lot of thoughts on it. We as a citizen, as a people of respective country, have to follow the, sustainable word, which we have been talking every day now. Like you have a lot of green building certifications, various certifications. They talk about that. And I think government is doing their job, but people have to listen. Like India, we have a lot of precautions which have been taken on the outdoor air pollution, but people have to follow it. And I think now people will rather follow it because they have seen that if we work with such a scenario, we can have a better world to live in. And I really like the caption which one had said that nature is coming back to us. So thank you, Ashu. I think these are my thoughts, and that's all for my side. Thank you very much, Ashu.
Agreed with you, Richie, sir. The reason, because a lot of policies already on the place to follow the lesser pollution. We have a ministry to reduce that the pollution should come down, but the people acceptance is not. So in my personal opinion, I think the way forward will be the people has to change their lifestyle, because they have to adapt these things slowly and slowly, so they will do that. Agree with your point. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on that. I will move to my next question to Dr. Isame Khalil, because Professor Isam is very renowned and 45 years of experience in the air transport, in the mostly air distribution effects. He's very expert in the CFD modeling. Professor Isam, because I was reading some article on LinkedIn that people are showing CFD modeling and saying because I want to set up this question on front of my audience. Sustainability is not just environment. They talks about social, economic, and environment. Now all the governments is talking about social distancing. That social distancing will be the option for doing to reduce the impact of COVID-19. But most of the restaurants, most of the buildings, if they follow the 1 meter social distancing, it will impact on their business, which cannot be sustained. So that is the reason I want to ask Professor Isam, with a lot of people having a myth 1 meter is enough towards social distancing. What are your thoughts? Can you please share your thoughts that how can the air distribution affect the virus transport? This is a very good question. A lot of people asking several times. So my question, the same question to the expert of this area. So please, sir, over to you.
Thank you very much. The air distribution in any enclosure will be very influential in making us comfortable, that's thermal comfortable, and also to keep the indoor air quality, which means to prevent any bad guys, viruses, microbes from being transported. We have done some work on people in enclosures like restaurants, theaters, aircraft cabins, buses, and with someone who has infection. So we have to look at the sneezing and coughing from this person and see how it can be migrated into others. Air distribution in this case will be instrumental in preventing the transportation. So we have to devise ways and means where we locate our supply and extract, and what to do to prevent any transport of the viruses or airborne particulates in places that are not demanded. That goes also for hospitals, operating theaters, for infectious and immunosuppressed rooms for patients. So we can do, as air conditioning community, we can do a lot to prevent the spread of such pandemic. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Professor Khalil, because this questions several people are asking on the different platform. But reason I talked on the sustainability approach, because it impacts of every business of sustainable. Right now, a lot of restaurants are facing a problem. How can they do the social distancing? And they want to understand how the air can impact on virus travel. So thank you for clearing that queries to you. I have next question. My next question to Mr. Mohammed Tasi, because I know Mr. Mohammed Tasi is background from the facility management. He is heading the facility, which is one of the most sustainable building on earth. I have personally visited when I visited Saudi Arabia, and I was amazed to see that building. And that is the reason this question came in my mind, which I want to ask you. So I want to ask from you only, that does sustainable building really add up value in operation of facilities? Any challenges you experienced in maintaining that facility which you are running in since last 3-4 years? So over to you, Dr. Mohammed Tasi.
Thank you, Ashtu. Thank you, everybody, for being on this panel. Hopefully next time we'll have like the chance to see the attendees face to face. Actually, green buildings, especially in our situation, prove to have high preferential features in this regard. Especially during the COVID-19 crisis, we have seen a lot of good features there, especially when we talk about safety, comfort, reliability, and flexibility of systems. Taking into consideration, for example, the advanced controls and communication systems that we have in such buildings. This allowed us to make provide some optimized remote operation and maintenance for all the facilities and utilities in no time. This could immediately help us in reducing the number of needed staff for safety reasons and to be able to serve all the customers at all times. This as well allowed us to provide all the services to the customers. So whether it is in the office or in the early stages or later when people moved into their homes, so the work from home became very simple practice to do, and all the services are provided at their homes, at their luxurious, green, safe, and comfort homes, whereby they can stay there and spend a lot of time and have full operation. This in turn also provided a lot of green manpower and utility savings. So the savings were very big in all various areas, whether in the office areas that were shut down during this crisis, or in terms of manpower need or other green and lower use of materials. This whole cycle is going all the time now under assessment and upgrade, how to do it better and better. And it's working very well. Actually, to your question, if I may, the challenges, I think the biggest challenge was manpower availability, which was resolved in this manner, and spare parts and materials that we couldn't receive in this COVID crisis. But still, it was a good experience for everybody. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Tasi, for sharing your thoughts, because you are managing that building, and we know because a lot of people having a myth that the sustainable building does operate like that, and you pretty clarified on that. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on that. My next question to Farhan. Farhan belongs to Pakistan, and the questions directly Farhan, because you are pretty involved in the energy efficiency community in Pakistan and globally also, and you are pretty active in ASHRAE technical committee. My question to you, in the current situation, how do you think a focus on energy efficiency can help to boost our economies? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, thank you, Ashu. That's a very good question. First of all, I'd like to say that we're at a place we've never been before, and forecasting is always a very tricky situation, and I think it'll be a few months before we get a clearer picture. I think the first thing that I'd like to share with everybody is that we want to understand the nexus that energy efficiency has with the economy. Now, buildings are the single largest user of energy. 40 to 42% of global energy use every year is by buildings, which form part of the construction sector. The second interesting metric that I want to share with you, which is from the World Resource Institute, is that construction accounts for 10% of global GDP, and almost 10% of the global workforce also works in construction. And in emerging markets or developing economies countries, this number has been estimated as being as high as 15%. So we can see that there is a clear nexus between energy efficiency and construction and the economy. Now, I want to take you back a little bit before we actually fell into this pandemic and pre-COVID. The estimates were that in the next 3 decades, almost 3 billion people will move to cities, which meant that there was going to be a lot of construction, and the construction sector was going to see a steady rise. It also meant that the energy demand would also considerably increase, and we've been seeing this data for years and years that there is a year-on-year increase in energy demand. So at this particular point in time, when we talk about energy efficiency for businesses, we want to frame it in the context of the present situation, which shall we call as in COVID. Oil prices are at an all-time low. The demand for energy is at an all-time low, and it looks like it's going to be there for some time. Economies are shrinking due to lockdowns. Unemployment is rising. People don't want to spend. People are trying to be as liquid as possible. And furthermore, we have a situation where people are working from home and people are shopping online, which means that moving forward, post-COVID, I think we'll see a huge change in the requirements for buildings. People will try and shed part of their building stocks because online will become the new normal. Working from home or partially for part of the workforce will become the new normal. So suddenly, on the one hand, up until now, you've got this fantastic nexus where energy efficiency can have a big impact, and suddenly you see that, well, you know, who wants to spend money right now on energy efficiency and wait for long paybacks? So it doesn't seem like a very good thing on the face of it. But I want to draw your attention to this bar graph here, which is from the International Energy Agency. And the thing that struck me was that buildings have a long economic lifespan compared to other energy consuming infrastructures, which means that any investment that you make in buildings at this particular point in time will eventually pay back, because this situation is not going to last. We are expecting a vaccine in the next 18 to 24 months, and then maybe normality in a few years after that. So if you look at the lifespan or the energy consuming and economic lifespan of a building, the minimum is 40 years, and it can go up to 120 years. Now couple that with the fact that we are going to see a radical change in architecture and also the way that HVAC systems are designed. That means that the existing building stocks will also see changes, renovations, and retrofits. So I think that there will be a considerable amount of work in the construction sector, and this is an opportunity at this particular point in time, if governments do their duty, is that any stimulus packages that we given have to be tied with both energy efficiency and sustainability. Because what is our ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal is to build a sustainable world. And we've shown images right now of what climate change has done. And we've also seen images of how we can reverse it. And reduced energy consumption means what? It means that your environmental impact is reduced, which means that you're going to slow down climate change. It means that you're going to reduce pollution, which means that illnesses and deaths related to pollution, especially in emerging economies, are also going to be a factor. So I think done right, this is a golden opportunity, and with the right stimulus, I think energy efficiency and sustainability have a great part to play in reviving the economy. Thank you.
Absolutely, Farhan. I think you nail it, and I am the only one who can understand right now, because my energy is gone. My energy is not coming right now, so that's the reason I can understand how energy is important. How can we save right now during this webinar? So I'm connected on my phone now, so that is the best way I did as a backup. So great. Thank you so much for clarifying. And this is the only way who can generate a lot of employment and boost economically also all the countries. everyone will focus on the cost cutting now, and energy is the one thing. If someone focus on energy audits, they can do the cost cutting right away in the building. Thank you so much, Farhan, for sharing in the detailing. So my next question to go to the Nohad, because Nohad has been chaired to the Green Building Council from the Lebanon, and he understands the sustainable goals from the UN nations. So Nohad, direct questions to you. How does the tragedy of COVID-19 change our understanding and use of sustainable development goals? How does it impact contemporary civilization around the globe? Over to you, Nohad.
Thank you, Ashu. Yeah, it's very obvious that this pandemic has revealed the weakness of the entire global system and consequently has affected in many ways, or to some extent, the SDGs, the 17 SDGs, starting from SDG 1 of poverty, getting to the other goals like goal number 3, good health and well-being for people, goal 6, clean water and sanitation, etc. And the last one, which is goal 17, partnerships for the goals. Looking at all these goals and the current situation, the logical and self-evident conclusions is our world faces common challenges, and this crisis should be a catalyst for global action to meet people's basic needs to save our planet and to build a fairer and resilient world. So the common problems and challenges must be solved through common global solutions. And I quote here a slogan, which is from the ASHRAE Student Activities Committee that we use it for the students. There is no planet B. So we are all caught in the same place, which is acutely needed is enhanced political will and commitment. Our world has the knowledge, capacity, innovation to take actions and to fight against poverty, hunger, climate change, etc. And the same way, the world is fighting against this pandemic and seeks to restore global prosperity. The world must focus on addressing underlying factors through the Sustainable Development Goals. It's becoming clear that if the world has worked on achieving the SDGs in a faster pace, the damage that this pandemic has caused till now, let's say, would be minimized and mitigated. So the world after Corona is going to be different, and the civilization as we know it today will have drastic changes toward more collaboration and knowledge exchange. And we will have a better model to build on. So I'm very optimistic, I think. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Nohad, for sharing your experience. You are correctly said the sustainable goals because right now the United Nations is also talking about the same. And we need to take care in future of after COVID-19. My next question goes to Mr. Pankaj Dharkar. Mr. Dharkar, as you are leading one of the biggest chamber in India, which having a 450,000 SMEs member, the small business entrepreneurs as a member, and you are leading their Green Council in that association. And you understand very well the green because you have done so many green building projects or the sustainable development in your design. So my question directly to you, once COVID-19 is over, what are the takeaways you propose for sustainable development? Because in India also people are asking the same question to you, but this question will be in the global way. What do you think? What are your takeaways to propose the sustainable development? Over to you, Mr. Dharkar. Mr. Dharkar, can you unmute yourself? I think some glitch with the Mr. Dharkar, so I will take the another next question. Then I will again come. Yeah, Mr. Dharkar, we can hear you now.
Thank you, Ashu. Well, as you referred to ASHRAE, and as you know, in India, just to update my international friends, we have 4 certification agencies happening. We have IGBC, we have USGBC, we have RIHA certification, and of course, GEM, where I'm chairing, is in front of them. But we started somewhere in 2001 in India, the green building movement, and in this 20 years, we have 6,000 plus registered buildings. So I think what GEM was aiming at, and as you rightly said, we have more than 450,000 members, and many of them are MSME members. So this is a big opportunity which I am looking at, which this chamber is going to bring. In fact, yesterday only you would have seen all engineering societies were together when we came up with a post-COVID document how to start up, and that is where we thought the engineering community, including ASHRAE, everybody of us can bring post-COVID. I think this is a big challenge which we all engineering societies have taken up in specifically in India. The COVID-19 viral outbreak is likely to bring about some permanent changes in lifestyle of the people that may help in preparing for the future. Buildings play an important role in such epidemics since people have to stay indoor most of the time. Prevention and control are the key element when facing such major public health crisis. Some of the green building concepts are already taking care of required prevention and control strategies, but the measures will have to be more enhanced, stringent, now in the terms of increased ventilation, prevention of cross-infection, maintaining relative humidity, proper cleaning and disinfecting techniques, proper hand washing facilities, crowd management, facilities of epidemic control, etc. The ongoing coronavirus crisis has amplified the growing calls for resilient and adaptive infrastructure that can effectively operate during the moment of crisis. The integrating new sustainable technologies during the design, construction, and operation phase for an infrastructure can significantly lower the cost while improving the safety and functionality. According to some studies, people nowadays, especially in urban areas, spend over 90% of their time indoors. A lot of factors, the health, happiness, productivity of building occupants, the built environment shapes and influences all these factors. Building in future will have to be more stringent in maintaining water quality, air quality, fitness facilities, cleanliness facilities, and use of antibacterial building materials in order to reduce the risk of people getting infected and also enhance their immunity. COVID-19 outbreak highlights the importance of proper hygiene and emphasis over easily diseases can spread in modern world. Building can either help to prevent the spread of infection disease or can facilitate its spread and proliferation. Building certification programs will have to give more importance to certain aspects of building design that play an important role in making the building healthy, safe, and secure. We all know that any building certification has components of energy efficiency, resource efficiency, water conservation, indoor air quality, site and community impact. But now, with the change, the new concepts in building technology will have to be implemented so that the building are more safe, comfortable, healthy, livable, and manageable for all occupants. And to answer you, we have learned a lesson that in future our building will have to not only be fire safe but also infection free. So I think that's the lesson we are going to learn, and I'm sure that's the way all engineering, and I think HVAC plays extremely important role in how to zone the areas, how to create the pressure gradients. Maybe all of us were not very attentive to these aspects. Today is a time when we need to focus and design our future system and modulate entire pressure gradients in critical areas. I think that's going to be the way.
Absolutely, Mr. Harker, you are, I think, correctly said the building should not only the fire safe, it should be infection safe as well, because the health is the most priority now these days. We spend our 90% of the time in indoor of the buildings, and we have to take the priority on that direction. You absolutely explained. Thank you so much. Now my next question to go to Shauna, and Shauna is pretty active in the building industry because I follow her. She is one of the high performance building design experts, and she has designed several well certified, also the green certified buildings. So my question to Shauna directly to you, because a lot of people are asking or saying after the COVID-19 we have to increase the ventilation air change rate, and it directly impacts to the energy efficiency. So my question, one of the recommended measures to increase ventilation rates in buildings and filtration, do you think is there any drawbacks to do these things? So over to you, Shauna.
Yes, thank you, Ashu, and thank you to RAL for organizing such a well-attended event. It's great to see RAL joining up all of the chapters of ASHRAE across the world, and also that the organizers of this event are young engineers in ASHRAE. So this is great. So nice job, everybody. So yes, there's a number of design interventions being recommended in order to solve this problem of COVID contagion in buildings, and they include increased ventilation levels, increasing the filtration levels in buildings, in addition to controlling the relative humidity in a very tight range, and also going to 100% exhaust and eliminating any kind of recirculation in buildings. And it's not my professional opinion that we need to avoid these things. It's critical to make sure that our buildings keep people safe, but we should not do so arbitrarily just to show or demonstrate that we're doing something to make our buildings healthy. What I would really like to see is that we as design professionals and also the building simulation community come together so that we can make informed decisions that also are cognizant of the energy or carbon penalty that these design interventions may have. So if we increase the amount of outdoor air in our buildings, we have to heat and cool that air. We have to also expend energy to pump that air around buildings. If we increase the filtration in our airstream, we're adding a resistance to the air distribution system, so the fans are going to have to work harder. So thinking about all of these different design interventions that are being recommended, there are certain mechanical systems that are set up better, and the characteristics of them inherently make them able to demonstrate some of these design interventions without having a drastic energy penalty. And they are the types of systems that we as design professionals were already recommending because of their energy efficiency. And they are those decoupled systems where the ventilation and the thermal solution are separate in a type of dedicated outdoor air system. So those systems may be a great solution for us to be able to provide an energy efficient system, but also a system that has the ability to increase the amount of ventilation when needed in a way that is more energy efficient. And so thinking about how we can help our clients and allow people to return to work and gathering and play, I think it is to help them understand how their mechanical systems can accommodate these needs without overburdening the systems themselves and also overburdening our energy system.
Sounds great. I think, Shauna, I think you have shared your experience, what you are, because you are one of the city which you are living right now in Chicago. And Chicago, the situation in New York, we have seen in the news. So I'm sure that a lot of buildings owners are asking about it, the same to you. So thank you so much for clarifying that query to us. My next question to one of the speaker from Bangladesh, Mr. Hasmat. I want to ask, because Bangladesh is one of the country where the most textile factories are opting as a sustainable way. I was reading an article, Bangladesh is a country where the maximum certified textile industries are there. So I want to understand from your side, what are the challenges in achieving sustainable development and how can they be overcome? Because you have designed some of the project, what actually it is. So over to you, Mr. Hasmat.
Thank you. Thanks for your question. Actually, sustainable development is the development that needs to meet the requirement at present without compromising the future generation requirement. Our major challenges of sustainability development is the good governance. Usually, any government that stay for 4 to 5 years, they plan for this time. They don't think about the requirement for the future. Moreover, worldwide, there's a lack of awareness, there's a lack of motivations, there's a lack of leadership, and worldwide, conflict between nations, conflict between religions, conflict between caste. That's the main problem with the achievement of the sustainability goal. But in our country, we are working together. Even the present governments, they are in the long time, and they we hope that they will stay in the power for a long time. So they have set up the plannings for next 2040, and thereby they already achieved MDG. They are now on the way to achieve SDG. So now, in fact, COVID opened our eyes. COVID opened our eyes how to work together, how to work for the mankind, how to work for the development. Our major challenges is that our main industry is the garments industry, garments and textile industry. We have to depend for raw materials for other countries, and we have to depend orders from export. It's mainly export oriented. So in recent COVID, most of the export stopped. Many orders are cancelled. Although our garments industry is reopened, and step by step it will be fully reopened. So we think that we can overcome this situation. But worldwide, this COVID-19 opened our eyes. That is, we need to invest our money not for war, not for weapons, not for conquering the aerospace. Rather, we should divert this fund for our mankind development, for our R&D sectors, for our immunity development, for our preparedness, as well as environmental impact analysis. So thereby we can, I think that the people who are working on this sustainability development, we should work very closely with the policymakers, dreamers, thinkers, and policy implementers. We should prepare our plan, we should negotiate with them, and we should divert those funds that they spend for wars and weapons. We should divert, we should negotiate that funds to our fields, as because this is not for ourselves, our self-developments. These are the developments for our art, for our survival of our Homo sapiens. Just think about all of this war, all of these weapons are for visible enemy, but we're now facing invisible enemy. So we have to do something for this invisible enemy. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Mr. Hasmat. I think you totally find that because these kind of government has to take initiative, and I can see some of the countries has linked the economic relief package with sustainable development. They are giving some kind of incentives to the real estate industry to build up a sustainable development, and I'm sure every country should follow the similar way so we can save some kind of carbon emissions from our earth. So I'm sure that we have entire panel has been asked one question, each one of you. I want to come back to Dr. Allah again because I have a very good question for you, because I was thinking, Dr. Allah, the reason behind it I'm asking on behalf of because you are one of the board member in ASHRAE, and ASHRAE is very quick to take the sustainable decision. Like I was reading that summer conference, annual conference of ASHRAE is also going digitally. And I was doing one analysis yesterday in carbon footprinting. If person travel from UAE to New York, around 1500 kg of carbon emission that person emit in aircraft. So we are doing, entire world is watching us digitally right now, how much carbon emissions we are reducing. So my question to you, do you think the ASHRAE can have similar kind of digital programs in future at society and RAL level? So we can save million tons of carbon emissions and contribute in sustainable development. So my question to you, Dr. Allah.
Okay, thank you. Actually, this question has two parts. Part is ASHRAE as a society and the region at large. As ASHRAE already, as you know, as you said, we decided in the board to make the annual meeting in June virtually, digitally. Also, I am chair of ad hoc committee taking care of the Global Training Center. We start studying how to make the courses also digitally, all the courses. Although some of it need interaction, need a sort of in-person. We are studying this matter also to have all the courses. ASHRAE was a leader in making the things virtually and digitally. Broadcasting webinars, you see, ASHRAE also started making many webinars. They give us the account from the society to all regions and chapters to use it and to make disseminate knowledge through the webinar, even we are stuck at our homes or our houses. Moreover, we talk about region at large. I think we exceed the expectations. We have almost every day 1 or 2 webinars from different chapters in region at large. Recently, a couple of days ago, we had our own account from webinar to serve our region and our chapters. Because when we rely on the accounts of the webinar from the society, you know, there was a lot of conflict between regions and chapters. So we have in region at large already webinars on daily basis. We are successfully achieved many of it. As a sub-region meeting also, region at large decide with the leaders to make the sub-region meeting, which it planned to be in July, sub-region 1, sub-region 2, it will be virtually. So we, as you said, reduce the traveling, and we will try. Actually, still we don't know how the meeting will be, because annual meeting will be a good platform to us to learn, and will enhance our things in our sub-region meeting in July. So this is a brief about what we are planning to do and what we are doing already as a region at large and as a society. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Allah, for taking this. Always RAL is the one kind of reason which always the quick action and disseminate the knowledge with the web method. And we have seen, I have attended, I think last 6-7 webinars. Every chapter is doing in different way. So that is a great initiative. Thank you so much, Dr. Allah. I think I have a lot of other questions, but I want to take some questions from audience. There are a lot of questions from the audience. I can see in question and answer poll, but I will take some few questions because there's a time limitation in that. And in future, RAL will conduct a similar kind of webinars and we will have questions there. So I want to take first question from Gautam from KPMG, and they're not directing question to whom, but I want to ask this question to Nohad, because can we devise a national draft policy, sector and country specific, that can help us continue to maintain the existing environmental situation? So Nohad, this is a question from Gautam. They want to understand if can we draft a national policy in that. Do you agree with that?
Well, let's get back to what I said before. Collaboration between nations and countries is a must. It's not an option anymore. So in the future, in addition to the SDGs that the UN have it now, we have to work probably in, let's say, geographical areas, I mean countries next to each other, to come with the policy that will preserve the nature, that will preserve the families, that will preserve even the animals. Yes, this is an option, and this option is going to take a big debate in the future, I think. But yes, it's a must, and we have to do it the sooner. And I think that the authorities in different countries should work together to come up with this solution.
All right, Nohad, thank you so much for clearing that answer. Now the next question to Mr. Richie Mittal. Someone wants to ask that can the implementation of carbon tax have an effect on sustainability, the quality of air and the water post COVID-19? What are your views on that?
Ashu, I think we are already under so many taxes everywhere in the world. So, but I think the time has come that people have. You see, everybody has seen what is what we are seeing now. During the lockdown, we see the nature coming back. So I think the tax part, I really will not like to comment on that, because I think we, as a businessman, we are not working for ourselves. At least I can say in India, we are paying tax for the government. So I don't know about the other countries. Other countries also have a lot of tax structure, but yes, that's a good idea. But I think the more important is that people have to come out. Government, every state government, every country's government are making policies for sustainability. But I think it is an individual company, organization who have to come on a sustainable way. They have to force themselves to come on this. And I think that will be the right way to move on further, Ashu. Thank you, Ashu.
Thank you so much, Richie sir, for clearing that. I agree with you. A lot of taxes already on the different part of the world. So we will have something like that. So next question to Mr. Pankaj Dharkar. Someone wants to ask, what role can MSME companies play in sustainable development and be a part of transformation of the society? So over to you, Mr. Dharkar. Can you explain this? Mr. Dharkar, we cannot hear you.
Yeah, I think MSME sector is regarded as backbone for Indian economy, and for that matter, any developing economy. I think I have colleagues here from international forums, and in our country, 40% of country's workforce, next only to agriculture sector, are from MSME, and contributing 45% manufacturing output and 40% of export. The MSME employs around 120 million people in my country. According to Director General of Commerce, Intelligence and Statistics, DGCIS, the share of MSME related products is total export of India is close to 48.1%, and therefore MSMEs are producing more pollution than big houses because of their informal nature and resulting lack of regulations and supervision. So I think encouraging MSMEs to adopt green technologies and other environmentally friendly strategies, especially after COVID, will be essential for sustainable development for the country. And sustainable development advocates for economic growth that is compatible with environmental protection, which includes promoting low carbon policies and nourishing the development of green technologies. I think our Union Minister has recently encouraged research and innovation in sector of sustainable growth, and Ministry of MSME runs various schemes targeting at providing financials and other assistances in skill infrastructure development, technology, quality upgradation for MSMEs. I think a big boost can come if Government of India can offer, and also many developing countries can offer going green for MSME sector, which should also make it mandatory in terms of financial assistance on concessional rates, additional floor area indexes up to 15%. As you know, whether it is silver, gold, platinum, the rating can change, but free charge of projects for obtaining green rating, 100% exemption of building security fees project, 25% of subsidies and assistance up to 50% on consultancy fees. Like that, a lot of things can happen with MSMEs, and more encouragement can need to go to real estate developers, builders, industries to facilitate all our MSME members. MSMEs should also be made to understand the imperativeness of sustainable growth to remain competitive globally, and adopting greener growth strategy could hence be beneficial to the developing economies themselves and also to the global environment. Waste management, decentralized renewable energy or energy efficient construction could be encouraged by giving proper incentives. Nevertheless, turning sustainable also offers the opportunity to be integrated into the global production and trade system and consequently attract international investment. At the same time, the consumer also needs to be sensitized so that they start demanding more and more products that are made through environmentally sustainable processes. And I think this is a big segment where it can develop, it can really help our nation, and also many colleagues who are sitting here in my panel, they are from developing nation. I think this is a key area where a lot of work should happen. The confidence in this segment has to grow to combat whatever is going to be aftermath of COVID.
Absolutely, Mr. Dharkar. I think you explained pretty well, because SMEs is the area which depends entire country economy. So that sector should be aware about the sustainable development. Very well explained. So now the next question to Dr. Isam, because Dr. Isam, there is a question to you. One of the attendees asking, what do you think the optimum apparatus that can be used in healthcare facilities that achieve both infection control standards and energy efficiency?
Well, thank you very much. Each operating room has its own design, and we cannot generalize. But for surgical operating theaters, if the normal one, then we use multi-supply grill from the ceiling with HEPA filter and back filter and so on. For infectious rooms, there's a different way of treatment where we also put the air first supplied to the head of the patient, then it goes to the other outside the room. For immunosuppressed, the air goes from the other side, it comes from the room, and then it flows to the head of the patient. So for each type of application, there are different systems. There are a lot of research already available, experimentation in the open literature, and ASHRAE has dedicated one of its committees for healthcare facilities. That's committee SSPC 170.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Isam, for clarifying that question. And the next question I want to ask to Mohammed Tasi, because the attendee has not specified the name of panelist, even though I want to ask because you will be the better panelist in that. So question it is, do you think that the vehicle and the industries can be closed once in a month or quarter by law, like lockdown period, to reset the environment?
I think after this crisis, everything is possible. The world after this COVID-19 is gonna be something else. I think all the panelists are talking about it, and everybody, even maybe from the attendees, understand this. So everything is possible. But I'd like to highlight something in the same direction. The way I see it is that work from home has taught us something very important, that it's doable. And it is also practical, and it will provide a lot of savings, among which is transportation in particular. So people working from home with the proper tools, proper virtual tools as well, the transportation game will be completely different. Just think about it. In some areas now of the world, the full work is going from homes. And we can see the streets are empty, though the work is going on. So this is an example. This is a successful example of how we are gonna have some operations going, I say, at least for the coming 2 years. And then we get used to it. So I think it's doable.
Absolutely, I agree. Now I think everything is possible after COVID-19. If we can stay 40, 50 days at home, so the 1 day in a quarter or the 2 day in a quarter is not a big deal. It can be a loss part as well, and it will keep increasing our happiness rating also, because we can spend our time with family, with friends, and everything. So I agree with you. So the last question I will take, because we are running out of time right now. We have less time. I will take a last question to Shauna, because it is the people wants to understand, how do you balance energy efficiency and health indoors, like humidity, temperature, and outside air? Because now these days, if we increase the fresh air, we will increase the energy efficiency, we will increase the energy consumption also. So what should be balanced way to do that? So can you just throw your light?
Sure. So I think that's a combination of design characteristics and operation efficiency. So, you know, when we think about sustainable buildings, they were designed to be sustainable. So they may have some of the features that this panel has mentioned. I know Mr. Mohammed Tasi, you mentioned efficient controls, and Professor Aslam mentioned effective air distribution systems, and I had mentioned certain mechanical systems earlier. All of those design features set a building up for success, but the only way to really balance energy efficiency and health is to take a data-driven approach to operations. And so one thing that my clients are asking me about a lot is, now that they've turned off their buildings, when they turn their buildings back on, when people come inside, how should they operate them? And so I have been recommending frequently to use ongoing or live indoor air quality monitoring, so that they can take a data-informed approach to their building operation. For instance, one concept that keeps on coming up is that, you know, 50% of your workforce may be working from home each day, and 50% of them may be coming to work in order to support social distancing, well, that means that you have half of the ventilation needs. So maybe you don't need to increase your ventilation at the air handler at all, but the only way that you can really determine that is by using sensor technology to quantify what you have and inform what you need. And so when we look at this data, I would recommend that we have indoor air quality experts look at this information so that we have knowledgeable people reviewing this data and supporting our facilities professionals. And to me, this is an upskilling opportunity for when we have design projects going on hold. We can have ASHRAE members and other engineers upskill and learn more about reviewing real-time indoor air quality information so that we can support our clients in a different way and frankly establish new revenue streams for all of us to stay busy through this new normal.
Perfect, Shauna. I think very well explained. Thank you so much. Now my last question, because a lot of questions are coming up, but we have as a moderator my work to limitation on the time. So last question to Farhan, because you have a lot of 3-4 questions, but I want to take one question to you. Normally building code are for the load strength and seismic purpose. Can energy efficiency code be made compulsory in all buildings in urban areas? Can we do that?
Yes, we can. That's the short answer. I want to share with you a little bit of background about the.
Right,
sorry.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Sorry.
So I think that everything can be done, and a lot of efforts are going on in developing economies, countries to get the codes out there. But there are some barriers to actually putting the codes in place. And about 5 years ago, ASHRAE formed a presidential ad hoc committee to review the development of codes in developing economies. And we put out a survey to 30,000 members and associates, developers, code compliance officials, so on and so forth. And I'll give you a short rundown of it. Fundamentally, what they found was that mostly in emerging economies, the governments don't have a cohesive policy which incentivizes sustainability and energy efficiency or even any other sort of code. Two, the number of professionals who are familiar with international codes is less. Three, most of the codes that are written by developed nations and in their entirety are not 100% relevant for emerging markets and developing economies countries. Four, in most of our countries, India and Pakistan, for example, we have a very high tariff structure of duties and taxes on imported equipment. And we have very little certification of our indigenous equipment or anything. So there are so many factors. So whilst people have been trying for a long period of time to get this code compliance and the codes rolled out in developing economies, for these reasons, it has been difficult. But yes, it can be done, but the government has to make up its mind in each country that they want to do it. There are a lot of people, professionals available to help them out, both public and private sector.
Absolutely, Farhan. I think because as an energy professional also I found because 1 kWh of energy emits around 900 gram of carbon emission. If we reduce 1 kWh of energy, we can save so many carbon emissions. So energy code will be mandatory. Already several countries is a mandate this thing. So I think this is the time now because a lot of already we are run to some late in the time. So thank you so much all the panelists to bringing this panel possible at the same time zone. So thank you so much each and everyone. Now I would request to the ASHRAE Chandigarh chapter representative Mr. Mani Khanna to give a vote of thanks to all of them. Mr. Mani, can you hear me? I think Mani is not here, so I would request Anuj if you can do the vote of thanks on behalf of Chandigarh chapter.
So, yeah, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, Mani, we can hear you. Please.
Hello.
Yes, Mani, please go ahead.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Yeah, good evening, everyone. I am Mani Khanna from Chandigarh chapter, ASHRAE Chandigarh chapter. So at the end, I would like to thank you, each and every one of you. And I would like to thank all the panelists who have joined this evening. And it is a great initiative which is done by ASHRAE region at large. So this is the first RAL web panel which has been organized very smoothly, and it is well supported by the chapter. And yes, we all for any initiatives are being taken by ASHRAE region at large. So yes, again, I would like to thank each one of the panelists. First of all, Dr. Allah, who is the director chair.
So Mani, your voice is breaking in between. I would request that Anuj, if you can take over that with our digital memento. So we want to give the memento to our all panelists. Is not possible a physical memento. We want to do a digital memento. So because we want to, yeah, please Anuj. So can we have a memento to our speakers? First is Dr. Allah.
Yes, this is for Dr. Allah. Thank you so much for being our panelist for this panel discussion. And this is for Mr. Richie Mittal. Thank you so much, sir, for being a panelist for panel discussion. This is for Professor Isame Khalil. And this is for Mr. Mohammed Tasi for joining us as a panelist. This is for Mr. Farhan Mehaboob. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Nohad, thank you so much, sir. Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Ms. Shauna, thank you so much for joining us from US. Mr. Hasmat, thank you so much for joining us from Bangladesh. So this is the digital memento for all of you, which will be delivered on your email after the panel discussion. And ASHRAE Chandigarh, thanks again everyone for joining us for the panel discussion. Every participants who attended, because I believe we have crossed around more than 1,200 participants and on average. So the report will be released later. But thanks to all the participants who joined us and all the panelists, and thanks to Ashu Gupta. Ashu, this is for you. I forgot. So this is for you as a moderator.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I want to thank my backup team like Mani Khanna, Anuj, and Osama, because these are the people who did entire IT work. Really thanks all three of you. Thank you so much for giving support on that. And another thing, in the end, I want to take a selfie, because this is a selfie group picture. So guys, whoever the webcam is on, Anuj, I would request to take a picture of all our panelists who are available. So take us in the 2 rounds. The first 6 webcam in the 1 round, then another 6 webcam in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
So Anuj,
right,
we can take a selfie for this current panel.
Perfect.
Yeah, all right. So I would request to start another panelist to start their webcam. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening us, for sparing your time. This was the first webinar by RAL, and look forward to have great webinars again and again. So thank you so much, everyone. We are just ending off.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye bye.